Entering Kenmore. Doors will open on the left.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 41 of Entering Kenmore. I am David Azer, alongside the birthday boy, Zach Coe. Zach, happy birthday. And it is wonderful to be back with you. I know at least one person was clamoring for a new episode of Entering Kenmore. That is true. Rob Bradford. Bradford, we're back. You can rest. We are here to talk ball once again. And it's been like a month since we last talked. I don't want to say nothing happened, but largely nothing happened. So we'll break down the little storylines we've gotten throughout this last month. Hope everyone had a good New Year's and happy holiday season. But Zach, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. We pledged to break down every single Red Sox trade. We weren't able to give an instant reaction to the Willson Contreras deal. Credit to us, never wrong, just early on Willson Contreras. I was on my deathbed when they made that deal. And for anyone that heard me during those days, you heard that I could barely form coherent sentences without A, hacking up a lung, B, losing my breath for an extended period of time. So fortunately, we weren't able to do a breaking pod, which sucks too, because that was arguably the biggest move they've made this offseason besides the Sonny Gray trade. So to not be able to jump on there was immediately sucked, but I like the move. We'll get into our thoughts on that move coming up here, but pretty boring offseason. I do want to get into your signing period take that you launched. But yeah, Bradfo was clamoring for it, and when Rob Bradford asks, we have to deliver. So here we are, talk the beautiful game of baseball. Yay, baseball.
Yeah, yay, baseball, as always. So yes, we did have the Willson Contreras trade, which I think was December 21st or right around there. So this trade was Willson Contreras and $8 million to the Red Sox. That's it in exchange for Hunter Dobbins, Yoiker Fajardo, and Blake Aita. I'm going to go Aita, A-I-T-A. I am not sure, but
yeah, this was not a guy I was familiar with in the system, so it's not anybody I'm too bent out of shape out of losing. Yeah. Obviously, Fajardo. I feel like everyone was like, "Oh, Breslow fleece" when it first came out that it was Dobbins was the headliner, and then a bunch of people that hadn't heard of Yoiker Fajardo had just absolutely lost their minds over losing him for $8 million. Talk about people just getting mad for the sake of getting mad about something. Like, dude, like, you don't know who that is, so don't pretend that you do. Like, obviously he came over. Well, obviously not everybody knew who he was. So Fajardo came over in the Cam Boozer deal last offseason, was a lottery ticket arm, skyrocketed his way all the way up into the top 10 on Sox prospects. But to me, like, I just didn't understand the they traded him for $8 million. Well, first of all, you don't know how the negotiations worked. Maybe Fajardo was people said it, prospect people said it, but Fajardo was the get in this deal for the Cardinals. Maybe they were dead set on getting him, and the only way you could get it done was with the $8 million. Maybe this deal doesn't get done if he's not involved. And it's something that I said when we talked about, which deal was it? Was it the Perales deal?
Probably the Perales deal in terms of pitching.
Yeah, and how they've shown the ability to turn these lottery ticket arms into something at a more consistent rate than what they have been able to do in the past. So they took Fajardo as a guy they acquired for Cam Boozer, who lasted exactly one season on the White Sox before they DFA'd him, and turned him into a top 10 organizational prospect. So, like, to me, like, they've shown the ability to do that. So I'm not super bent out of shape over losing a guy like that. Like, sure, it sucks, but he's probably at least 3 years away from the big leagues, and you can develop those guys at a much more consistent basis than before. So no skin off my back.
I'm with you there. And I think just in terms of the larger picture, people were mad that Willson Contreras wasn't Pete Alonso. The answer at first base was not the big power hitter, the slugger that you could slot into the middle of your lineup and you're good for 30 to 40 homers a year. And I think if you take a step back and look at what the Red Sox had at first base last year, that was Tristan Casas, who was bad for the first quarter of the season and then blew his leg out. Yeah. And then you had the likes of Abraham Toro, Romy Gonzalez, who I've given his flowers, but I don't think he's a primary first baseman. And then Nathaniel Lowe, who went on the Linsanity run for the first week he was here and then fell off a cliff. And there was a time when we were talking about, should they just bring Nathaniel Lowe back? And obviously that didn't happen. I think this is such an upgrade at a position that has been a black hole organizationally since Mitch
Mitch
Moreland left.
Moreland.
Really?
Yeah.
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 So,
Literally.
to say this isn't an upgrade, to say it wasn't worth moving on from another number 5 starter in Hunter Dobbins when you have so many of them and 2 lottery tickets, like, I just don't get the logic on that at all. And not to mention his defense is very good. Like, when I go on Baseball Savant, it's usually bad because I don't know what I'm doing. But just taking a look here, I mean, his range, 91st percentile, and arm strength doesn't really matter at first base. But I mean, who's to say that his defense over there doesn't help a lot of these throwing errors that we saw from Trevor Story, Alex Bregman later in the year? I think that's an underrated part of this as well. And his bat probably plays more at Fenway. He can hit you 20 to 25 homers. I think that's perfectly fine, especially from a position where you've gotten nothing the last few years.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like, I mean, my disdain for Pete Alonso is well documented on this
Yes.
podcast, but I really don't think it's that much of a drop off between Pete Alonso and Willson Contreras. I mean, Pete Alonso is a one trick pony for all intent and purposes. And over the last 3 seasons, so 2023 to 2025, bear in mind, Pete Alonso played 478 games in this 3-year span compared to Willson Contreras' 344. It's a 9.3 B WAR compared to an 8.7 for Alonso's the 9.3, Contreras is the 8.7. And then when you get into some of the other numbers, obviously Alonso has the edge in home runs, 118 to only 55. But we already talked about it when we talked about Contreras as a potential deadline acquisition. The power should tick up with the air pull percentage and the spray chart. Like, it's something that a right-handed bat like that's going to play at Fenway. And that's not to say that Pete Alonso wouldn't have. But batting average, obviously, it's the big 2.6. So I don't want to get too deep into batting average, but 261 in favor of Contreras to 244. The OBP is 26 points higher in favor of Contreras. And then when you get into the slugging numbers, it's a 456 slug to a 496 for Alonso. The OPS is 10 points higher for Alonso, and the OPS plus is only 3 ticks higher. So, like, I just don't necessarily know that overall offensively it's that big of a drop off from Pete Alonso to Willson Contreras, especially when you factor in that you're going to have to pay Pete Alonso, what, it was 5 years and 160 or whatever.
155.
Well, yeah. So, like, I just don't think it's that much of a difference between the two. But Pete Alonso carries the, like, big name polar bear nickname, like, oh, he won the home run derby. Like, he's the flashier player. But, like, when you consider the cost of acquisition, to me, I'm just as happy with Willson Contreras.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I think the question remains whether or not the Red Sox are going to go out and acquire a big free agent. It should be Bregman, but even in addition to that, it should be someone else. And this helps a little bit with that, saving costs and acquiring a position of need. I don't know if they're going to go out and bring in Bregman and someone else, but it should at least be Bregman coming back. And then you're looking at a pretty decent lineup here, but we'll get to it later. There are still holes that need to be filled. There are still log jams that need to be cleared out to have a complete lineup. I think this is a step in the right direction, if nothing else. And he's here for, I think, until 2027.
Yeah, there's an option somewhere along the way. I'd have to pull up the exact contract, but I want to say 2027, then there's an option for 28.
I think so too, yeah. So it's a short-term deal. I mean, he like we talked about it before the trade deadline. I thought when he went to the Cardinals, his production just completely fell off a cliff because I just wasn't hearing much about him. You take a look at the numbers, it's been pretty consistent, especially with the move to first base. Like, he's not a catcher anymore. I think that is important to emphasize here, because I think some people are like, oh, well, is he a backup catcher as well? No, I don't think so.
He could get back there. Like, I know, like, he had, like, and they didn't seem like they were willing to, but the Cardinals seemed like they were more willing to get him back there a little bit. But, like, I don't know, like, if you need it, like, in a pinch, like, I think he could probably still get back there and do it. But, like, I don't think this means the end of Connor Wong. Like, they traded for him because he's their first baseman. Like,
absolutely,
it's as simple as that. Like, and with the way that Narvaez performed, it obviously made catcher a much smaller need, if it even is a need at all. Like, I know that some people are ready to move on from Connor Wong after last season, but like, it's something like Chris Cotillo has been beating the drum of really for the entirety of the last year, is just that, like, when you look at a backup catcher, like someone like Connor Wong is exactly who teams look for, like guy who's had previous success and hopefully they can recapture. Like, it's not a guy that you need to play every day. It's a guy that you need to see once or twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, depending on how things shake out for you. So like, I'm okay with Connor Wong going again, but, and we talked about the Kyle Teal rumors. Those were weird. Those kind of died down. But yeah, he's not a catcher. I think he could in a pinch, but we'll see how they deploy him. I would guess that we see him less than 5 times at catcher this year.
I agree. And not to mention, this helps a lot with Tristan Casas being, who knows where he even starts the year. We talked about beforehand, could he start in Worcester to begin the year? Even if he's fully healthy,
Well,
I don't know if that's a guarantee.
Interesting tidbit that I saw on Twitter earlier today. Let me pull it up here. It's from Red Sox payroll, I think it was. I saw it when I was just waking up, getting the crusties out of my eyes. So here it is. Yeah, Red Sox payroll. As it currently stands, Tristan Casas has 3.032 years of MLB service time. He's on pace to be a free agent after 2028. If he spends around 7 weeks in the minors in 2026, he'd fall back behind pace to hit 6 years of service time after 2028 and would add another year of team control.
Seems like they might do that.
Yeah, seems like Tristan Casas might be spending a little over 2 months in AAA. And like, for me, like, that makes sense, like, because it's less pressure. Like, obviously this is a guy who, and like, I'm a Casas guy, and I am so sick of being like, oh, well, that month in 2023 he was just a buddy. Like yes, like, I do still believe that ceiling is there, but as of now, like, since then, he hasn't shown the ability to A, stay healthy, or B, perform at that consistent of a level. And obviously we know he's an eccentric guy, and to me, like, that's not something I knock a guy for. Like, oh, he's a little odd, he paints his nails. Like, I think I've been through the whole rant. I did the voice and everything. Oh, he paints his nails. Like, it's like, I don't need to get into all that again, but I think just a nice reset for him coming off an injury. Go down to Worcester, less pressure, kind of find your swing again, and then in 2 months, he can come back up and spell Massa at DH. He can spell Contreras at first base. Like, there's a role for a guy like Tristan Casas, and I don't think the ship has sailed on him at all, but I do think that a little bit of a mental reset to kind of get his shit together would be welcomed for him.
And you couldn't go into next season with Tristan Casas as your only first baseman, which it seems like they did the past 2 or 3 seasons. So yeah, bringing in Contreras, I think, is a great answer there, and can become a platoon position at some point if Casas gets back to form.
Like, to me, I think Casas is a DH at this point. Like, the defense was like, it got better, slightly better this year, but to me, like, I just don't know that the defense is like, you mentioned the range on Contreras. People talked about the range as a negative on Pete Alonso. Like, to me, I kind of fall into the Carabas camp of things where it's like, I don't really give a fuck what the range is on my first baseman. Can you pick the ball? And those guys can do that, and Casas hasn't consistently shown the ability to do that. So, and especially when you consider with Trevor Story's arm issues that he had towards the end of the season, could it be fatigue? Could it just be an aging player that is starting to lose some of his arm strength? I seem to think it's more the latter than the former. So, like, you need a guy that's going to be able to pick it, because Trevor Story, he led the league and led shortstops in errors last year. How many of them were throwing? I don't know off the top of my head, but I want to say he committed the most errors of a shortstop.
I feel like Volpe had to be up there, though, right?
He definitely was, but Story was also not good.
Yeah, I can try to find it.
There was that stretch where Story, it felt like, committed an error like every game for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, oh, I know. It got bad towards the end of the year, and that begged the question: could he be a second baseman going forward?
Which doesn't seem like
they're,
but
it doesn't seem like they're going to.
No, they're definitely not.
Where is this?
He was third among shortstops and errors. Jesus Christ. Ellie De La Cruz.
How many did he have?
26.
My God.
Ellie had 26. CJ Abrams had 22. Trevor Story and Anthony Volpe were tied for third with 19.
Okay, so not great.
Oh, I muted myself accidentally. No, not great.
Anything else on Contreras?
No, I don't think so. Credit to us. We were early on this. Yes. I'll always take a victory lap when we're on something, especially when it's as early as we were to have nailed that one. We went over on our trade deadline primer, but we finally notched one in the pro column just a little bit later than we were expecting. Exactly, never wrong, just early.
I love it.
That's the tagline of Enter in Kenmore. We have two. Enter in Kenmore, never wrong, just early. Development isn't linear.
And you can take that to the bank. I think we could go a couple different ways here. Do you want to start Blue Jays or do you want to start Red Sox in terms of Bregman? Where do you want to start with this?
Blue Jays being Okamoto.
Yeah.
Let's just do that because I don't have too much on it. I don't know if you do.
Okay. I don't either. Well, actually, I have a take that I want to throw at you. Maybe try it on, see if it fits, see how you feel about it. I think this is the most boring MLB offseason in a really long time.
Yeah,
I'll elaborate, but
it's tough to really say because I feel like the last 10 or so have been so slow. There was Machado and Harper were the same year, right? Where they both just
15.
No, I think it was later than that, wasn't it?
Was that
When
the
did
JD
Harper
Martinez year?
I think
Might have been 18.
I'll look real quick. But so obviously we had Harper and Machado stretch all the way into spring training and then they didn't sign. But I mean, obviously the days are gone where it was okay, it's the winter meetings 2014 and John Lester is about to sign with either the Red Sox or the Cubs and MLB Network is live at the winter meetings awaiting John Lester's decision and it's 1 a.m. and 15-year-old Zach is sitting up watching MLB Network waiting to see where John Lester goes. Those days are gone, but it does feel like it's been an unusually boring offseason. And I think part of it is a weaker hitting class for free agency. And obviously the lockout looming. So who knows what teams are looking to do. It was 2018, the offseason after 2018. So 2019. That Harper was a free agent. But yeah, it does feel like it's an unusually boring free agency and trade market and stuff. And I think the lockout has a lot to do with that.
I do too, but I think just in terms of rumors, even last year with Soto, obviously he was the biggest fish. You had rumors flying every which way. Soto met with this team. He's impressed. We'll see final offers are due on this day or whatever. And then we were tracking planes with Shohei Ohtani the year before that. So it's just
poor John Morosi.
Yeah, I understand there's no real, I guess Kyle Tucker is the big fish, and we haven't heard anything on him since he was at Blue Jays, what was it, Dunedin? Or one of their minor league facilities.
Yeah, it was their spring training. Yeah, Dunedin.
Yeah, and we haven't heard anything on him since, not a lick. And I feel like with plenty of the starters, we didn't really hear anything before they signed. Even with the Japanese free agents, you didn't hear anything on them. Murakami, Imai, and now Okamoto have all signed, and you didn't really hear any rumors beforehand. It was just hey, their posting windows are about to end here, so they have to sign, but we don't know who they're going to at all. And it just ended up being kind of three. I mean, I guess the Blue Jays make sense, but in terms of the Astros and the White Sox getting the other two guys, that was kind of out of nowhere. I feel like maybe not as much the Astros, but it just felt like everything sort of comes out of the blue this year. And in years past, we've had so many rumors leading up to that. And that's not just Red Sox centric. Obviously that's what we see the most of, but even in terms of national reporters, I just don't feel like there's much out there.
Yeah, and I think on the Tucker and Soto thing, I think it kind of speaks to the two personalities of the two players. Obviously Soto's he's a flashier player, he's the bigger name. I mean, he could retire today and be a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. So I think that kind of goes to it. Kyle Tucker is a superstar. Don't get me wrong. I have gushed about Kyle Tucker plenty of times on this podcast. I still have a take today that includes the Red Sox signing Kyle Tucker. It's not going to happen, but whatever. That's besides the point. But Tucker, he's kind of a quiet superstar. I think when you talk about the top 10 to 15 players in baseball, the casual fan isn't going to say Kyle Tucker, but the ball knowers are going to say Kyle Tucker. So I think his free agency kind of just fits with his personality and what we know about him. And we can even go about that with Harper or Machado or some of the other bigger names in the past. But I do have some takes on Murakami specifically, but we can save that till later. But yeah, I feel like the Tucker stuff makes sense in the sense that he kind of just goes about his business. He shows up to work, just gets up there, swings the bat, keeps it moving. He's not really an in your face showboaty kind of guy. So to me, that checks out. But aside from that, like, I mean, we've had a handful of Bregman rumors here and there. Like, there's been a handful of Bichette rumors here and there. We're just starting to get some Bellinger stuff floating out there, which, like, for the Cubs to trade him in a just quick Bellinger rant. For the Cubs to trade him in effectively a salary dump, I am 99.9% sure they've already DFA'd the return for Cody Bellinger, and then trade their first round pick, Cam Smith, for Kyle Tucker, and then show literally no interest in bringing Kyle Tucker back, and then be like, well, actually, we're going to bring Bellinger back instead. Like, why wouldn't you just and you're going to pay Bellinger. Like, they're going to pay Bellinger probably more than what they salary dumped him. So
I bet.
for them to be like, let's give up Cam Smith for 1 year of Kyle Tucker, get eliminated in the second round, and then let Kyle Tucker walk for nothing, and then just pay. Yeah, Cody Poteet is who they got for Cody Bellinger, who is now on the Orioles. He was DFA'd. Let's see, where's transactions? Sure,
Maybe not
December
even
17th. He was
maybe
traded
not
by
even
the
a
Yankees.
calendar year.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was he was traded before the season started. December 17th, 2024, traded by the New York Yankees to the Chicago Cubs for Cody Bellinger and cash. And then on March 29th, 2025, purchased by the Baltimore Orioles from the Chicago Cubs. So he didn't even make it to the start of the season.
So he didn't pitch a regular season game for them.
No. Yeah, now the Cubs are back in on Cody Bellinger after trading their top prospect for 1 year of Kyle Tucker.
I am thankful. Red Sox fans have it pretty bad lately, but I am glad we aren't Cubs fans. I know you're a Cubs fan, but
I wouldn't go that far.
You're a Cubs observer, could we
Cubs
say?
observer, yeah. Well, the thing too is, like, one of my, like, obviously my Ramble On co-host is like, he's effectively us but with the Cubs. So I just talk so much ball with him, and we just bitch and moan about our cheap owners that I know the Cubs pretty well just from that. But as far as, like, the Cubs as an organization go, I respect those kind of Cubs fans, like my friend, but like the White Sox fans, those are the true baseball sickos. Those are way more my people than the Cubs fans. Like, Cubs fans, like, if you go to a Cubs game in the summer, if you think Fenway is bad with the pink hats, Wrigley is even worse.
I'm sure.
People just showing up to black the fuck out, and they don't give a shit whether the Cubs win or lose.
It's interesting that the White Sox have now spent more money in free agency than the Red Sox. You had a Murakami take. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I love that signing for the White Sox.
Yeah,
it's like, to me, like, Murakami's a guy, he did intrigue me. He does intrigue me coming over. It's hard to say a guy with potentially 80 grade power doesn't intrigue you, but it's something that we talked about in terms of him being a fit on the Red Sox, where the word of the offseason, it was the first thing I said after they got eliminated by the Yankees all the way back in October. And it seems like everyone else has kind of clinged to it now. So once again, never wrong, just early, but certainty. And Murakami just doesn't bring that level of certainty. Like, his evaluations range anywhere from, like, I think I saw, like, Jack Sawinski to, like, Pedro Alvarez, Joey Gallo. On the top end of things, it's like Max Muncy. So, like, to me, it didn't make sense in terms of the Red Sox. But for the White Sox, they signed him to a 3-year deal,
2-year, 34.
Yeah, so you have a guy who's at his age 25, right around there, and he goes to a team that there's literally no pressure on him to perform, no pressure on anything. Yeah, 25, is about to turn 26 next month. So he's going into his age 26, and with that kind of power, and he's however many years old, he's going to hit the free agency market at 28. So here's a guy who everyone was expecting to get a 6-figure deal, a long-term deal, because of his age and the potential and stuff. It wasn't out there for them. And you have a team in the White Sox who, like I said, what do they have to lose in signing a guy like Murakami? Worst case scenario, he's more Jack Sawinski than he is Max Muncy, or he's right in the middle and he's Joey Gallo or Pedro Alvarez, guys who had a couple good years. But best case scenario, he's a 26-year-old, 27-year-old in the next 2 years that you can just turn around and flip. Like, you replenish your farm system and he can go get his payday somewhere else if he pans out. Like, so I think it's a move that makes sense for both those teams, and I'm excited to see what he does.
I am too. I think it's cool to see one of these Japanese free agents not get that big deal right when they come over? Because I think more often than not, you see those mega deals for like, and it's mostly on the pitching side, I'll say, like Yamamoto,
Yeah.
Sasaki,
Those
and
guys
obviously
are way
Shohei at
more
the
can't
start.
miss than
Right. So
it.
so some of these more lottery tickets, I guess it's more like an Imanaga or
Yeah.
what's that guy on the on the Orioles last year? Big Sug?
Oh, yeah, Tomoyuki Sugano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
shout
just
out.
think it's interesting because I mean you mean to tell me no one else wanted to take a flyer on Murakami, so he just kind of fell into the White Sox lap? Like, did they have to outbid anyone, or they were the only one to give him a deal?
2 and 34, it feels like they didn't have to outbid anyone.
Which
Like,
is kind of shocking to me. Like, no other team wants to kick the tires on that. Like you have all these kind of middling teams like the Reds or the Pirates
oh
or
my god, that bad at the with the Reds in the
yeah,
small
that's what
park,
I'm
that would
saying.
have
Like,
gone fucking
why aren't some
nutty.
of those or the Royals? I mean, I guess they have a first baseman, but you know what I mean. Like some of those mid-market teams,
Yeah.
maybe even the Cardinals. Like none of those teams were like, yeah, we'll give them a shot. 2 for 34. Like what is there to lose?
I'd have to look at the defensive numbers on Jordan Walker, but I do kind of wonder if that they're thinking about shifting Jordan Walker into the infield.
Potentially, yeah. I mean,
Um,
he hasn't been good at all since being called up.
no, he's been like one of the bigger busts the last
Ye-
however many years, which is
Uh-huh.
something. I guess let's see, but defensively, oh, okay. He was a -4 outs above average and
Okay.
but a 96th percentile arm strength. I don't know. That
Yeah, but he's probably not going to be a third baseman, right? They're just going to plug him at
no,
first.
I don't know for certain, but that feels like a move that could be coming for them. 23, 6'6", 250 minus defensively. Like that, I feel like he's a first baseman.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
fun feature on Baseball Savant, real quick. 58 days until the World Baseball Classic.
ooh, okay, less than 2 months. I like that.
Love
We're gonna
that.
have to do some discourse for sure. I mean, Garrett Whitlock there. Come on,
So,
buddy.
of all the guys going, yeah,
Well, who else did you think I was
we're,
gonna say
we're
first?
gonna have to do some discourse on the WBC. It should be a great time. Garrett Whitlock's gonna be there.
He will, buddy. Will he ever? And don't you worry. The first chance I get to acquire a Garrett Whitlock Team USA jersey and jersey, I think I'll do both.
I
I,
like
I
it.
will do it.
Yeah, I think you have to, and they're going to be out there. You're going to be the only guy at Fenway all summer with a Garrett Whitlock Team USA
And
jersey.
people are gonna look at me and be like, "Yeah, that guy knows ball for
Yeah,
sure."
yeah, definitely.
Are they going to
Right.
make those readily available, or do you think that's an AliExpress type of jersey?
I want to say when they did baseball at the Olympics when it was in Tokyo, I want to say those jerseys were readily available because I
Yeah,
kicked the tires on getting a Tristan Casas Team USA.
that's fire.
Yeah, I didn't end up doing it, but you're gonna get the Garrett Whitlock Team USA is gonna get the same looks as my Robbie Ross Jr. the lawnmower jersey that I have right there.
I mean, everyone needs an obscure jersey like that. I think
I
it's
have way too many.
yeah. I got an. Have I told you on the podcast before that I have an Eric Thames Players Weekend jersey?
You told me that not on the pod, I believe,
Okay,
but I
well,
didn't know that you had one of
I'm
those.
glad that's out into the ether now.
I have a signed Travis Shaw Players Weekend, mayor
That's
of
fire too.
DDC.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah, that's a
I don't
good
know
one.
how we got on this tangent, but the Blue Jays did sign Kazuma Okamoto, who the Red Sox I think were maybe sort of kind of linked to him, but it never really felt like it was close to happening. So he's kind of a corner infielder. I think what we were talking about before we started recording was they kind of want to use him as a super utility player and then
Yeah.
maybe still go after Bregman or bring back Bichette or bring in Kyle Tucker. But to me, I think this takes them out of the Bregman sweepstakes. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I would assume so, but it's tough to say with them, like, when they're spending like they are, and I mean, they're now a bigger spender than the Red Sox, and so it's tough to say for certain that they're out of anybody really, but I would guess that that means that they're out on Bregman just because like where does he play? I guess
Right.
because Vladdy's obviously at first. I guess if the idea is to have Okamoto in a super utility, then that's one thing, but to pay him 60 whatever million dollars over 4 years and then also pay Bregman the like 30 million that he's looking for, like it just feels like Tucker's a better fit. As far as Okamoto as a fit on the Red Sox, it felt like there were like I never really saw anything like explicitly linking him to them. but it just kind of felt like with the things that they were looking for, like corner and field, solid defense, limit strikeouts, makes contact, things like that. Like it seems like the pieces were all there. And it's not a fair comparison to Okamoto to make, but to me, it's just kind of like, where have we heard this before from a Japanese player coming over, makes solid contact, doesn't strike out, works the counts, walks a lot.
Hmm,
Maybe if the power ticks up, he can be a 20
I
homer
wonder.
guy. Like it feels a little too Yoshida-ish to me. And for
Mhm.
that reason, I'm out.
I love that. Yeah, it's more so like I wasn't upset that the Red Sox didn't bring in Okamoto. Once you saw the price tag, it was like I think I texted you, why couldn't they have gotten both? And I still stand by that, but it's also like, yeah, where would Okamoto really have fit in here? And I think just from a Red Sox perspective, they're probably just going to wait out Bregman even more now because I think your only other potential suitor is the Diamondbacks. And if they get outbid by the Diamondbacks, then this is just a problem that will never be fixed, I think.
Well, and one of the things that got kicked around as far as the Blue Jays go with Okamoto was him playing a corner outfield. So do
Yeah.
they maybe stick him in left or right and then still go after one of Bregman or Bichette instead of Tucker?
Yeah.
I know I just said logically the solution is Tucker for them, which like is even scarier. Like Vladdy and Tucker back to back in a lineup.
Yeah.
Springer, Tucker, Vladdy. Like oof.
Santander, if he's back to
Yeah,
form.
if he decides to not just take the money and run,
Mhm.
like, yeah, like that is a scary, scary proposition to make. But yeah, I don't know. Like when when you're talking about the Blue Jays spending this kind of money, they could still get two of them. They could still get Bregman or Bichette and Tucker and still make it work.
Oh, if only we were fans of a team who just
Yeah.
opened up a blank checkbook.
If only we could be fans of the big market Toronto Blue Jays.
How awesome would that be? Yeah. Oh man.
It
But
just yeah, so
so
annoying.
on the Bregman sweepstakes, was this a report or was this just Buster only just kind of talking?
So I saw it aggregated a million
Yeah.
times and never saw it, as is the case with aggregation, where they don't actually cite the reports that they're using to engagement farm. I only saw it aggregated a million times that Buster only said that the Red Sox have made an aggressive offer to Alex
Yes.
Bregman. What that means, there was a guy. So I did the trending obviously on whatever day it was, Friday, I think. And when that report came out, and someone on the text line was fucking furious with me. What the fuck does aggressive offer mean? I don't know, dude. You're gonna have to ask Buster only. Like, it's a fair question to make to have. Like, but don't get mad at the guy making $15
Yeah, don't
an
shoot the
hour. Yeah,
messenger.
right. To read a trending update, like,
Which happens way more often than you
yeah.
think in
Oh
our
yeah,
line of work.
way more often. Yeah, people get fired up about the trending if there's even the slightest mistake or anything. But that's besides the point. So yeah, like what does aggressive offer mean? Like I saw, which like again, like don't shoot the messenger, and I'm not taking this for like even with a grain of salt. But Marino Pepin said it was like a 5-year deal with the willingness to go to 6. Like that's what it's gonna have to be. Like I could have tweeted that and said like, report the Red Sox are making a 5-year deal, willing to go 6. Like if they want Alex Bregman, that's what it's gonna get. But I guess this is this a good time to have the lineup conversation?
Yeah.
So I saw Milliken tweeted today, how would you feel if this was the Red Sox lineup going into opening day? Roman Anthony, Alex Bregman, Jaron Duran, Willson Contreras, Wilyer Abreu, Trevor Story, Marcelo Meyer, Carlos Narvaez, and Cedon Rafaela. He followed it up with, are you satisfied? And I think my answer is no. Like,
I agree.
don't get me wrong. That is a better lineup than the one that you had during game 3 against the Yankees where you were eliminated. You know what? It is still not better of a lineup than the one you had? The one you had on June 15th, 2025, when you beat the Yankees.
That was fun.
If the goal is to win World Series, which Craig Breslow has said multiple times, the goal is to compete for championships. Is that a lineup that is capable of competing for a championship? I don't think so. Do you?
No, I don't. The
That was
problem
very
is
Tucker Carlson of me. I don't think so. Do you?
I liked it though. Man, it's just we came into this offseason with very specific needs. A lot of those have been met but they haven't been met in the sense that we were hoping for. We were aiming big in our offseason primer. Obviously, we put out both of our wish lists, and they had Pete Alonso, Freddie Peralta, Bo Bichette, or whoever you want. But it was always not going to pan out like that. I just think the philosophy of this front office, it was just never going to happen. But if they don't trade an outfielder, and we're heading into opening day with all 4 outfielders still on this roster, I'm going to say with Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, and Cedar Rafaela on this roster still, and Masataka Yoshida, that is a problem because we have been talking about now the outfield logjam for over a year, and it still hasn't been addressed. If you go into another season with continuing to kick this can down the road, that is just a disservice to this organization, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm just crunching some numbers right now. But per the Fangraphs WAR projections, the Red Sox currently have the 20th best offense in baseball by projected WAR, with the second best pitching staff. Alex Bregman, in the 4 different WAR projection systems that they use, has a median WAR for next year of 3.85, which means that the Red Sox currently sit at, like I said, 20th with, where is it, a 21.8 projected WAR from their hitters. If you add in Alex Bregman's 3.85 projection, that brings them, this is not Zach versus math, I'm doing this on my calculator just for fair, 25.65, which only places them slightly higher, right in between the A's, is that right? Yeah, the A's and the Diamondbacks.
Yikes.
That's where you are in terms of offensive WAR. So like that's where it all kind of comes into play for me, is like I said, that's a better lineup than the one that you ended the season with. But is that a lineup capable of winning a World Series? I don't think so, even when you do consider the fact that they're projected the second highest pitching WAR out of any team in baseball behind the Dodgers.
I mean, you've seen it for years with the Mariners. Like, their pitching staff has been dominant, and their offense hasn't been nearly as good. They went for it last year, I will admit. They got Naylor, obviously re-signed him. Doesn't seem like Suarez is coming back. And
no, he sucked.
Yeah, he did suck. But if you're with the likes of the A's and the Diamondbacks, I'm going to give the A's a little bit of flowers. They extended, yeah, and they extended Soderstrom. They still have DeVries in the wings, so I think they could be a lot better. But you have the capacity to go out and clear out an area of depth and bring in a position of need, whether that be Bichette and Bregman. I think I'm dreaming too big there, but some iteration of that, like Ketel Marte. This is the biggest thing that pissed me off. And I know I'm going all over the place here, but the main thing that pissed me off when they acquired Willson Contreras is we heard pretty soon after that they were just done kicking the tires on a Ketel Marte trade.
I just think the price is too high.
Probably.
Like it's something that we talked about before we hit the record button, but the farm system is thinning out. Like
it is.
You have Franklin Arias, who a bunch of different evaluators differ on. Who knows if the power is ever going to play to the capabilities that he is, and who knows if he sticks at shortstop, obviously with Marcelo Meyer. But then aside from that, especially on the position player side, it really, really thins out after Franklin Arias. And obviously you have all these controllable starting pitchers, but we just saw what a controllable starting pitcher who sucks in Shane Baz got you. So, like, is it worth it to trade Tolley or Early for Ketel Marte? Like, I would be at least interested in one of those two, but I'm also a prospect hugger, so even the idea of trading them doesn't really enthrall me. So, like, I guess it depends on what it is, but like, just looking at the Sox prospects top 60, in the top 10, it's what's it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the top 10 are all pitchers. So
I will say it seems like pitchers usually move more for a premium, so that could help them. But I don't know.
But like, and then like, which one? Like, it's just, there's so many different, like, I think and I know that like people are getting shit on for suggesting Brian Bayo as the headliner, and I don't think Brian Bayo is the headliner in a Ketel Marte trade by any stretch of the imagination. But my guess is that they were looking to do something more closely to that than like, all right, Bayo and an outfielder for Ketel Marte, and they were like, okay, how about Tolley and an outfielder? And then like that's where things start to get uncomfortable. And I understand that you have to be uncomfortable to make these kind of moves, but like I said, at a certain point you're going to have to restock the cupboard. So for me, like, Marte's a guy I would have loved to have. Obviously it works positionally, but I I just don't know that trade-wise it makes the most sense, especially when you consider that they haven't spent any money and they willingly offered up. They weren't asked. They just said it. We're going to reinvest this Devers money back into the team. And it hasn't happened yet. So to me, like, of course, Marte's a superstar. Of course, he's probably a top 15 to 20 player in the entire league. And some people might argue that that's even being conservative. But I would rather spend the money when they have promised they were going to and still haven't, especially when you consider, I want to say that they were number 13 or right in that, like in the back end of the top half, if that makes sense at all, in Baseball America's farm system rankings. And this is an organization that was number 1 a year ago. So,
yeah, and another thing here is I think that's why people are getting upset when you're acquiring Sonny Gray and Willson Contreras, and you're also acquiring like half of their the rest of their contracts from the Cardinals. Like, it's just, I understand the need to cut costs in term, and if you can get these guys on more team friendly deals, then go for it. But are you going to spend that money ever in free agency? Like, we just have to see it. And I think signs are pointing to a Bregman reunion, but past that, I really don't know what else there is to do out there. And it just doesn't seem like they're going to be in on Bregman and Bichette, Bregman and Tucker. It's just not going to happen. So the question has to be asked, if they just bring back Alex Bregman, is that enough? If they make no other moves in their lineup, I just don't think so.
Well, just to quickly circle back on one of the things that you said right there at the beginning. I get that people are upset that they're taking money back without reinvesting it. And I think that argument holds more weight when you're talking about Willson Contreras, who's making like $18 million a year. But Sonny Gray, the way his contract was written was he had a trade clause that was going to make the money be like 40 mil a year for Sonny Gray, which, like, obviously, like, if the Cardinals were intent on trading him, which obviously they were, he like pretty much said he wanted to be traded. So like they were going to have to do something like that. So I think it makes way more sense with Sonny Gray because nobody's paying him 40 mil a year to be Sonny Gray.
God, no.
So I think the argument makes more sense with Contreras, but I just don't, like you said, like, I just don't think that they're going to be in on two of those guys. And it's something that Coley said on Twitter, like the fact that we've been beaten into submission where it's which one would you prefer out of Bregman or Bichette, and not like we're going to get both. And I understand, like they have Marcelo Meyer. We've been waiting however many years for Marcelo Meyer. The fact of the matter is, one, Marcelo Meyer has not proven that he can stay healthy for a full professional baseball season yet. And this is not meant to be a knock on Marcelo Meyer. I think he's going to be a very good baseball player for this team. I even complained that he was in the mix or being floated as a guy that could go to the Diamondbacks for Marte, but I just feel like we're putting a lot on Marcelo Meyer's plate when he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. And the Steamer projections, which are notoriously conservative, have him hitting 251 with this one is going to be Zach versus math, and it is not pretty so far. 724. Yeah, 724. OPS, 96 WRC plus, playing second base. Like, to me, like, while I do believe that Marcelo Meyer is going to be a good player, one, I haven't seen it enough in terms of him hitting lefties. And I just don't want to see him come up and immediately be a platoon, even though that might just be fait accompli with the way that they've handled these guys. But it just seems like you're putting too much on Marcelo Meyer, who, like, he always projected to be, like, I don't think he ever was going to hit the Corey Seager comps that we got when he was first drafted. I think he was always probably going to be closer to the Brandon Crawford type player, who's a nice little player. Like, don't get me wrong. He's just not he wasn't a guy that was going to knock your socks off by any stretch. So to me, it's just putting a lot on Meyer's plate, and I don't know that he can necessarily handle that in terms of staying healthy or just in terms of being productive enough.
You've already mentioned it this episode, and I just want to echo it right here. We're looking for consistency this offseason, and at this point in his career, I would not call Marcelo Meyer consistent. It reminds me of when the last couple of years they just went into the season being like, Casas is our first baseman, we'll see what happens. If you're planning on putting Marcelo Meyer as the everyday second baseman, or at least a platoon with Romy, I think you could go for something more consistent there, and there are a lot of avenues to do that right there in front of you. all you have to do is open up the checkbook, and it just doesn't seem like they're going to.
No, and I said this before we hit record again, and we did like a whole podcast before we
Which we
hit the
tend to
record
do.
button. Yeah. But that's why I still think, and I teased it before, I guess I'll get to my Kyle Tucker take. I still think that like you need and I said this talking to Bradfo when he was clamoring for an episode, maybe it was the show before that, but he said if they just get Bichette, is that satisfactory enough? Or Bichette or Bregman, is that satisfactory enough? And there isn't a guy in this lineup, which like, okay, so we'll use Milliken's example where all they do is bring back Bregman. In this lineup of Anthony, Bregman, Duran, Contreras, Abreu, Story, Meyer, Narvaez, Rafaela, there isn't one guy in there where you say, okay, this is the guy we're circling. He will not beat us. Like every single one of those guys, if you're a pitcher on the opposing team, you're comfortable pitching to and you're comfortable attacking. They had that with Rafael Devers. The Yankees lineup sucks. The Yankees lineup is not good, but they get propped up by Judge because they have that guy where it's, oh fuck, we cannot let insert player X beat us. And while Alex Bregman is a really good player, a great leader, and Bo Bichette's a really good player, I can't speak to his leadership qualities, but he's a really good hitter, and it seems like the profile will play well at Fenway. He's not a guy where it's like, all right, we cannot let Bo Bichette beat us. In example A, he was a guy they were willing to pitch to on the Blue Jays because they have that guy in Vladdy. So to me, it's still Kyle Tucker, and you'll say, well, what about the outfield log jam, Zach? Yeah, I've been saying for however long, trade two of them. Like I would have traded all three of them if I had the choice. Like honestly, like Abreu, Duran, and Rafaela, they're all fine players to varying degrees. I think Rafaela is probably the worst of the bunch, but gets propped up because of his defense. But I'm not married to any of those guys by any stretch of the imagination. If you told me that they traded all three of them between now and the start of spring training and signed Kyle Tucker, and you're going into the season with Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Kyle Tucker as your outfield, I think that's better than what they have now, to be honest with you. And like, of course, that's a lot to do with Kyle Tucker, who I just told you I think is a top 10 to 15 player in baseball. But it seems like they're trying to get creative in the wrong ways, almost. Like they're trying to find value in Willson Contreras and Sonny Gray instead of finding value in adding Kyle Tucker. And well, they were in on Soto, and I think the easy explanation is just, well, Soto's an international superstar. I already told you he could retire today and be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and Kyle Tucker's just not that guy. He's not flashy. The casual fan doesn't know who Kyle Tucker is. But like, to me, we're here to win baseball games, not sell jerseys, not sell tickets, which like I know for them, it's the opposite. They're there to sell all those things. But you know what comes with winning baseball games? Selling jerseys and selling tickets and selling concessions. Like if you just make moves to improve your baseball team, which Kyle Tucker would do, and give you that guy where it's like, this is not the guy that's going to beat us. Like it just makes all the sense in the world to me, and they're not going to do it. I've said it a million times, that ship is beyond sailed, but I just don't know. Like, I just don't know where they get that guy if it's not coming from free agency.
It's a great take. I wholeheartedly agree with it. I just, like you said, I don't see it. And I don't understand why we haven't heard pretty much any smoke about a Duran, Abreu, or Rafaela trade this offseason, because it was one of their key talking points. I mean, I guess they didn't come out and say it, but everyone knows they need to trade an outfielder. If you have Masataka Yoshida on this roster come opening day, then you don't have a spot for everyone. And I wish there was a way to just let Masataka Yoshida become a TikTok influencer, go out into the travel world and spread his wings. But unfortunately, that's not the reality we live in. He's on this baseball team, and he's probably going to be here at the start of next season. You just don't have spots for all these guys, especially when you factor in Christian Campbell, who now they are slotting as a primary outfielder. And I think he had a pretty decent winter ball, right? Or was it fall?
Yeah,
fall league? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was in Puerto Rico. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but from what I remember seeing, he was pretty solid down there. He the power started to come towards the end of his stint. He was only there for 2 weeks, so small sample size, but he also got robbed of a home run on a terrible call. They said it hit the wall and it didn't. It like very clearly went over. But on the outfield logjam thing, it's something Jeff Passan, he did a AMA on Threads, which seems to be the spot for him. He's done a couple of them now, I believe. But someone asked him, what do you expect the trade package to look like for Boston in exchange for Jarren Duran? Any top aggressors? Passan said, the Red Sox believe Duran is worth a front-of-the-rotation starter. At this point, no one has been willing to pay that. Considering the return the Rays got on Shane Baz, teams are going to be that much more emboldened to price starting pitchers very aggressively, even with the paucity of good bats left beyond the very top of the free agent market. That's kind of a double whammy for the Red Sox, where it's like, I just told you they still need a top bat and a guy that you opposing teams have to circle and be like, this is the guy. Like, they don't have that. And they also have an outfield logjam where they're seeking a top of the rotation arm for a guy that no one's willing to give it to you for. So like, I just don't know where you turn. And in this scenario, or the one I just gave you, I think the move is trade one of them or two of them or whatever you want to do for that top of the rotation starter, whether it be Cole Reagans, who it seems like at this point it's a pipe dream because the Royals signed Lane Thomas and they traded for Isaac Collins. And like neither of those guys really impressed me all that much, but obviously they felt like the cost of acquisition for those guys was worth more than potentially giving up Reagans for Duran plus whatever else they would throw in to get the deal done. So like, I don't know where it comes from. I did the Michael Scott. Sometimes I start a sentence and don't know where it's going and just hope I find it along the way.
I got the gist.
But I guess I found it here. It was something that, again, we, in our pre-show podcast, I said, like, you trade however many of them or whatever it takes to get a number two, and then you flip the other one to replenish the farm system. Like, I think that's like, because it needs to, like I said, like the cupboard needs to be restocked eventually. And we've seen them go pretty pitcher heavy in the draft these last couple of years. Obviously, the first round pick this year, Kyson Witherspoon, the compensation pick or whatever they call the competitive balance pick for that they got in the Quinn Priester trade was Marcus Phillips. They picked Anthony Ianson in the third round. The lone hitter that they took of really any consequence is Henry Godbout, who was a second round comp pick. Or was it I don't know how it panned out, but yeah, they took Henry Godbout. He was the only hitter of any consequence that they took effectively. So I just don't know like where the hitting pipeline is going to come from after this.
No, it's a good point, but honestly, to me, like I remember the days of Dave Dombrowski where they didn't care about that in the slightest. They just went out and got every big fish that they wanted. They would make big trades. They got Chris Sale didn't care who they gave up. I guess they kept Devers. It made an effort to keep Devers in that deal and ended up moving Moncada instead, right? I have that right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So there is a little bit of conviction there, but I'm just so tired of like, we're going after the value deals more than the big fish just because we're operating under arbitrary restrictions that have been set by John Henry and no one else. Like it's so infuriating to be like, we came into this offseason with big asks, and I'm not surprised that none of those have happened. Really, none of those have happened.
Yeah, well, and it's what Breslow said in that first press conference of the offseason.
Exactly.
Like, we want a front-of-the-line starter to pair with Garrett. He effectively said, we want a 1B to Garrett Crochet's 1A, and we want a big bopper in the heart of our lineup. And so far, they're 0 for 2 on those.
Yeah, you got Sonny Gray and Willson Contreras, and I think that's where people get upset is because it could have been so much more, and I think it still can. Like, these are supplementary moves that shouldn't be just, moving by the wayside, but I do think there is still a means to improve the ceiling of this team with a Kyle Tucker, with a Bo Bichette, with an Alex Bregman. And it just seems like they're going to bring back Bregman and then just call it an off-season.
Yeah.
And how can you do that? How can you look at this roster and be like, yep, that's it. This is a World Series contender, especially when you factor in how much better the Blue Jays have gotten. I think the Orioles could still go out and get a starter, and then that makes them a little bit of a threat. The Yankees really haven't done anything. Could they bring back Bellinger? Or maybe it just seems like they're probably going to do something, right? Like, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're going to bring back Bellinger.
So you could have, the Rays are the Rays. They're probably not going to be good. But the other three teams, or I guess just the Orioles and the Blue Jays so far, have gotten significantly better this offseason.
The Yankees already were better than you. So
yeah, and they're getting Garrett Cole back, which I think people sometimes forget.
And now you don't have the Garrett Cole killer.
Exactly. So you're falling behind here. You had the potential to go out and have a big offseason. We said it all all the way leading up to it. Craig Breslow even made us fall for it again in laying out his plans. And we're probably a month and a half away from spring training now, and it just doesn't
I
seem
think
like
it's less than a month. The date got announced today. February 10th is pitchers and catchers, full squads, February 15th. So a little more than a month.
Yeah, a month and change, and nothing has happened. And I guess a majority of the top free agents still haven't really signed. Maybe not a majority, half still haven't signed.
Well, and it's something that Bradfo tweeted that blew my mind. I don't have it in front of me. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. But there's only been like 4 deals signed longer than 4 years.
Alonso, Cease,
Schwarber, and Cease, I believe.
Is that it?
And now Okamoto.
Oh,
let me see if I can find this tweet real quick.
How many years did Schwarber get? 5?
5, I believe.
Yeah.
Don't have that off the top of my head.
I think it was 5, 150.
Yeah, that sounds right actually, because it was right around that Alonso number. Where the hell is it? I don't know why I can't find it. I'm not
good radio.
Yeah, oh yeah, great radio here. But like, I think it's just quickly on your take about there's like they made all these promises and they got Sonny Gray and Willson Contreras, who were fine players. Like I agree with you. I don't think they're supplementary players by any stretch. I think they're guys where you say they're good players, but they're not guys where it's like, oh shit, we got bang. Like like I said, it's not oh shit, we got the guy that you're gonna circle and say this is the guy that you're not gonna let us beat. But like to me, like it was either McAdam or it was someone I was listening to said like I think the Red Sox would say, what do you mean we didn't get a power hitter and a number 2? We got Sonny Gray and Willson Contreras, and for this, like for insert X, like if you look at the advanced stats, Sonny Gray was just as good as any number 2 in the league. And if you look at the air pull percentage and the hard hit rate and this, that, and the other thing, Willson Contreras we think can be just as good as Pete Alonso. And I agree. I think he could be just as good as Pete Alonso. But to me, Pete Alonso wasn't the guy where I was going to be like, oh shit, we got the polar bear, here he comes. Like, so like to me, like I think Alonso was more like the guy that you circle just in terms of like name value only.
It's a good point. I think I probably would have gotten excited if Pete Alonso signed here, but also I'm not upset with Contreras.
But I would have gotten excited, but I also think that 2 years from now we'd be looking at that contract going, I cannot believe we have to pay Pete Alonso $30 million. Like we'd be looking at it as like okay, like we can't go out and sign player X who's a free agent because we got fucking Pete Alonso making $30 million on the books.
Yeah, I don't hate the take. And I guess there's still some time to be like, yeah, we're actually bringing in a legit 1B starter, and Freddie Peralta is very available. It seems like, right? This is a pretty recent report.
From today, I just don't know how they line up with the Brewers on a deal like this. Like, because like when you look at what the Red Sox have a surplus of, it's obviously outfielders. And then you look at what the Brewers have the most of. I mean, they just traded Isaac Collins because they have so many outfielders. They have Churio, they have Yelich still getting reps out there. They have Sal Frelick, they have Garrett Mitchell, who I know my friend Joe's going to be listening, so I'm just going to throw this in there. He sucks. But they do have him. So like I just don't know where it comes from. Jake Bauers out there who was all right for them last year. Like I just don't. I Blake Perkins. Like the list goes on and on of all the guys that the Brewers have in the outfield. So, and I just told you about how the farm system is getting depleted on the position player side, and all those guys that were close are here. So the Brewers are a team that went to the NLCS last year. Is that where they lost?
I think so.
So yeah, you have a team that went. Yeah, right. You have an NLCS team. They're not looking at Franklin Arias, who got a cup of coffee in Double-A at the end of last year, as the centerpiece of a Freddie Peralta trade. And I don't think Bayo's doing anything for them really either. Like, so I just don't know what you're giving up in a Freddie Peralta deal, unless it is Early or Tolley. And again, like those are guys where I'm not comfortable giving up for Freddie Peralta, who you're then going to have to pay.
It's a fair point. I just think if there is going to be an acquisition past Bregman, Like, where are you at with Bregman? You think he's more than likely coming back still, or are you on the fence?
I'm on the fence. Like it's as is the case with all of these waiting game bullshit that the Red Sox
Mhm.
try to play. Like it's just it's playing with fire so much. Like all it takes is one stupid team to come in and put their nuts on the table. I mean, we saw it happen with Bogarts. Like it's worked out for them in the past in with JD Martinez and Bregman last year. But it's just like all it takes is Kyle Tucker to go to the Dodgers and Bo Bichette to sign with the Yankees. And all of a sudden the Blue Jays are desperate to land someone and they give Bregman 7 years. Like all it takes is one stupid team. So like as I think like right now the Red Sox are probably winning the waiting game that they're trying to do, but like I said, at any moment that shoe could drop and we could get the pass and tweet that he's going somewhere else.
Things could change pretty quickly. I just think past Bregman, it feels like another trade is the most likely scenario in terms of upgrading your lineup or your rotation further. Like, I just don't see them going out and spending on Framber
No,
or
no, I
Bichette.
don't think any rotation deal would come via free agency. I think that would all come via trade. And
Maybe,
probably,
yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Like
I don't think Marte's happening. It's just
sounds
I
like
would
they're gonna
love,
hang on to him.
yeah, I would love to be like, look at our new infield with Bregman, Trevor Story, Bichette at second base, and Willson Contreras. Like that's pretty dope.
And it gives you the guy that teams say this is not the guy that's going to beat us. And I think like the hope is, just to circle back to that take real quick, I think the hope is that Roman Anthony turns into that guy where it's like, all right, we're not going to let Roman Anthony beat us. But like again, that's a lot of pressure to be putting on a 20-year-old kid, like a
He has
22, like
shown
kid going to be
that it
22.
doesn't phase him.
Well, of course it doesn't phase him, but like when we're talking about certainty, like I mean, we've seen so much. Like it's so rare to see guys come up and just immediately tear the cover off the ball and continue to tear the cover off the ball. And I'm not saying that I'm expecting a regression season from Roman Anthony, but I don't think it's out of the question that there's a period of time throughout this season where pitchers start to say, okay, like here's a weakness, we can exploit it. Like it's a learning game. It's okay, you come up, you immediately perform, teams start to figure you out, pitchers start to figure you out, then you make the adjustment back, and then you're a Major League Baseball player. Like it's a pretty tried and true formula. So like while I think Roman Anthony is an MVP caliber player, not this year, I don't think, but I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again. Like it's a lot to be like, okay, this is the guy that's going to be that. Like when we're looking for certainty, when we're looking to, in their own words, compete for championships, I just don't know that this is the way to go about building. And it's something that we've harped on over and over again, where they consistently try to be the smartest guys in the room and they end up with egg on their face more often.
Yeah, and in terms of certainty with Roman Anthony, he already got hurt at the end of the year, and I can't imagine that will flare up.
No,
Like
I
that
wouldn't.
specific injury won't be a lingering thing. But yeah, he hasn't been healthy throughout his whole, I guess, half of his first year in the majors. So just
Yeah, the
something to keep
injury
in
stuff
mind.
doesn't really like concern me with Anthony
Right.
because he's been healthy. Like it's not like a Meyer or a Casas situation.
I don't
But
think so either.
yeah, but I don't know. Like it's super frustrating because all these things that we were sold at the beginning of the season, and it hasn't delivered.
I I can't say I'm surprised anymore. Like it's getting to the point where I'm so tired of these empty promises, but I also am not surprised that they're not following through on it anymore. Like, do you have any other Red Sox takes? I feel like the Bruins aren't any better, but but we do have a breakdown.
I don't think so. I don't know. Like it's pretty frustrating, and obviously we've done an hour and 5 minutes, and they haven't done anything. So like I feel like
We're just airing our
yeah,
frustration.
we're Red
Mhm.
Sox taked. Like we've gotten them all out at this point. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just annoying. And to wrap like the Red Sox stuff up, like hopefully we have a move to discuss. Like obviously we've committed to. I'm no longer sick. I can form at least somewhat coherent sentences.
Yeah, we'll be back more
Uh,
consistently.
yeah, so like obviously if they make a move, we'll be right back on here whenever it may be. But it's just, well, I guess not for the next week, starting on Wednesday when I'm in France. So Craig
Oh,
Breslow put things on hold until I get back from France, hopefully. But even then, I'll try and find a way to make it work if need be. We've made that commitment to you, the listener.
I stay up late, dude. I'll be ready at like 4 a.m. if that's what it takes.
that's what's I'm gonna be right there, ready for a Patriots playoff game in France at 4 a.m. ready to go. So I'm willing to do anything for the team. That's just the kind of guy I am. The team, the team, the team. Uh, but
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I don't think I have any other Red Sox takes if we want to get into the breakdown.
Oh, I am ready.
Taunts the Montreal bench. Moves around.
It's time for David's Bruins Breakdown.
Oh, it certainly is. And oh, how I have missed David's Bruins Breakdown. I'm just going to give you a sneak peek here, Zach. We're ready. We're ready. There is plenty of takes to go through. I'm going to just fire them off rapid fire. If there's anything that sticks out to you, feel free to cut me off. The Bruins have been a mixed bag for the last month since we've talked. I think it's more of the preseason expectations we had for them than, oh, maybe they'll make the playoffs. They're kind of hanging around in the Eastern Conference for a little bit there. Yeah, it hasn't happened. They've fallen off a cliff. It's unfortunate, but can't say I'm surprised. And I also do want to emphasize that I have still enjoyed watching them, even with no expectation. That's not a take I have on this list, but
yeah, I mean, like, the games are entertaining, at least a little bit, in that they're a tough out. I mean, they're playing to the identity of what the team was built to do. It's just now they're not scoring, which I don't know if you know this. Scoring goals, pretty important. Important in hockey. So, like, they've been tough outs, and they have fun players. Like, I think Fraser Mitten's performance in Vancouver, not only did it win me $75, but it was also it's a young guy showing flashes. Obviously, we had Pasta's big night in Edmonton. So there are things that you can pick out of games and say okay, that was cool, that was this, that was that. But overall, to me, I got more enjoyment watching the World Juniors than I have the Boston Bruins over the last couple weeks.
It's a fair point. I'm just going to go straight to this one because it's timely. Fun World Juniors fact, I don't know, I can't watch, which is so infuriating. And it really, I could go on a 10, 15-minute rant about how streaming services are just recreating cable. But why do I need an NHL network streaming where I can't even get it on my TV? I don't have cable in my apartment and I just can't watch it. It makes no sense. You can't even get it online.
Well, and if their whole thing is to grow the game, to have it, and this is a problem that people run into out of market that pay for ESPN Plus, which obviously has NHL Center Ice, but every Wednesday, Sunday, there are NHL Network broadcasted national games where they just take, if the Bruins were on at home, they just take the NESN feed and play that on NHL Network. But that's blacked out on ESPN Plus because it's on NHL Network and not everybody gets NHL Network. And not to mention that the broadcasts that the NHL Network does for World Juniors they're just not nearly as good as anything that TSN does. I saw a bunch of people clamoring for the NHL Network to just give us the TSN broadcast, which would be so much better. But yeah, the fact that they have NHL Center Ice on ESPN and we can't watch the World Juniors on ESPN Plus is just so ridiculous. We're talking about growing the game, and a lot of these games were so entertaining. The US played some bangers even though their tournament ended. I was working last night, so I didn't get a chance to watch them, but the semifinal games were all incredible between Czechia and Canada, who now have a little bit of a budding rivalry, and Czechia knocking off Canada, and then Finland and Sweden, who obviously is a regional rivalry with them being right there. So those games were all great, and honestly, the tournament couldn't have gone any better for the Bruins in terms of their prospects performing well. Will Zellers and James Higgins were arguably the two best players of the tournament. They were named two of the three best players of the tournament for the U.S. by the coaching staff. So Will Zellers, a guy who wasn't even on the initial roster roster, came in and for the round robin phase of it was the only guy that was scoring. It was just, and then he gets bumped up with Higgins and Higgins comes alive. So from a Bruins perspective, it's not ending in a three-peat, I think it would have been for the US in terms of winning gold, but you got to come away pretty excited if you're Don Sweeney and company.
Now, how often is the World Juniors? Is that an every year? Every year?
Every year.
Okay. Well, another one that goes off of that, and then I'm going to go in order because I don't want to miss my place. Just found out that we got Will Zellers and Casey Middlestat for Charlie Coyle.
And a second-round pick.
And a second-round pick. Yeah, I mean, how wild is that? I didn't know that at all.
And hopefully they can flip Casey Middlestat. I don't know if a first-round pick is happening, which was the initial cost or the initial ask for him, but hopefully Casey Middlestat is a guy that's flipped right back out the door for some more assets that can help you rebuild this farm system that for a long time was a barren wasteland of nothingness, but is now, I mean, it's only 2 guys, but you're starting to see 2 guys at least, and
more than 0.
Yeah, and I'm not going to give them credit for Minton because he was not a ready-made product when they traded for him, but he was a more ready-to-go guy than Zellers, who was still in the USHL.
Okay, this was from a while ago. So this started, I think, around the Wild game, which was like right when they acquired Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, it was Quinn Hughes' first game with the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this one, please be okay, Murat Husnudinov. He left the game and then he came back. So I said he's okay, thank God. That's it. And then this one came from the Wild game. Who are the actual contenders this year? Now that I think about it, because when the Wild acquired Quinn Hughes, I was kind of like, are they sneaky like contenders this year? But then you look at the Avalanche and they are like lighting the world on fire. I don't know if they still are, but last time I checked,
they are. Yeah, the Avs are 31-3-7, and they have 69 nice points. They're 17-0-2 at home. They have 11
absurd.
more points than the next closest team.
But
so as far as the contenders go, the Western Conference is just so much better than the East this year. You have the Avs obviously lapping everyone right now. The Stars are still really good. The Wild are good. Vegas is good. Edmonton has underperformed a little bit this year, but I mean, when you have McDavid and Draisaitl, it's hard to bet against that team.
Right.
A couple teams lurking in the wings, the Kings. And even the Sharks, I wouldn't say that the Sharks are good yet. I think I've talked about how the Sharks have my favorite roster in the NHL, where they just have a bunch of like random journeyman veterans like Adam Gaudette and Ryan Reeves, and then surround them. Logan Couture, I believe, is on injured reserve, but he's still out there. Barclay Goodrow, Philip Kurashev, and then just surrounding them with a bunch of young talent, William Eklund, Celebrini, Will Smith, etc. It's a hilarious roster, but they're kind of lurking in the wings. I don't think they're an actual contender by any stretch, but that was talking Sharks. I got to talk Sharks in every breakdown.
I love it
because those are my guys, but the Eastern Conference sucks. Like the Lightning and Hurricanes are tied for the lead right now. Like I don't see either of them really pushing for a cup. The Canadians are pretty good. The Red Wings have been good, but yeah, I think the like true cup contenders are lurking in the West.
Okay, that's good to know. Next one here, Geek Squad is a hard nickname. I don't know how you feel about that. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know. Like I feel like it can be better. I don't think it's the worst nickname, and I don't have anything better. But I feel like there's there's room for improvement.
We can workshop it. I think I like it because now that I own my own PC, I have definitely needed the help of Geek Squad, so I can relate to it. But he's kind of been in a slump lately too, so maybe we need to revisit that. True. This one comes from the Mammoth game. Fuck Yeti for that shit, to be honest, because I think the Utah Yeti would have been a much better name, and like the water bottle cooler Yeti company was like, no, that people would get confused. We cannot have the Utah Yeti.
Yeah, I don't think the Mammoth is that strong of a name. I was also on the Yeti for that one. So Morgan Geekie hasn't scored since December 20th.
Sure hasn't. No, it's been bad.
6 games scoreless.
We'll see if that. Also, he got snubbed off Team Canada while we're here.
Yeah, and the fucking Sweenius is the GM of Team
I
Canada
know.
too, and he doesn't get on. And like when you're talking, like Tom Wilson is on the team, and like I guess we can the Olympic. I don't know. Do you have any Olympic roster takes on there that you're gonna get to, or should I fire those off now?
I didn't. I don't think I wrote one down. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of Jeremy Swayman on Team USA.
But he's the only other guy they could have taken. I don't think that
I
you're gonna
guess.
see him a lot because like in Four Nations you didn't see him at all. Like he
Right.
was just the third goalie. It was Ottinger and Hellebuck.
Mhm.
So like I don't think you're gonna see him a ton, but just a couple takes on the Olympic rosters. Cannot believe Hampus Lindholm didn't make Team Sweden. When you look at some of the other defensemen on there, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure like what's his face, Broberg is on there. Like Hampus Lindholm's better than him. The Team USA is where I really have my gripes. You leave Jason Robertson off the roster.
Mhm.
You leave Cole Caulfield off the roster because you absolutely have to have Vinny Trocheck and JT Miller, who are both on sub 60-point paces on a team that's minus 200 to miss the playoffs because they grew up together. Like, yeah, dude, I'm sure the power of friendship is going to stop Canada and not Jason Robertson. And I saw it was like one Team USA executive was like, Robertson's a one-trick pony. We need stallions here. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
when his one trick has him fourth in the league in goals, I would say that's probably a guy you could use.
No doubt.
Instead of JT Miller and Vinny Trocheck, who are giving you the power of friendship. I also feel less strongly about this one, but I still think it was a mistake. Adam Fox not being on the roster. And a lot of people, and Bill Guerin, who's the Team USA GM, he's the Wild GM. He said like anybody who thinks that we made the decision to keep somebody off based off of one play isn't very, or thinks we're like dumb or something like that. And effectively, the people were saying that did you remember the Four Nations final, the game winner?
Yeah.
Adam Fox was like super out of position because Austin Matthews hung him out to dry.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, this is the play that kept Adam Fox off of Team USA. And like anybody with a functioning brain would watch that play and be like, oh, Austin Matthews left him out to dry. But yeah, I think I don't feel as passionately about that one. I think it could have gone either way in terms of him being on or off, but I think I would have had him on. So there's that. That was talking Olympic rosters.
I don't have much to add. I am looking forward to actually being able to watch that tournament.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. This one I want to preface, it was a while ago, but I can't change my mind now. I am all in on Marco Sturm. I have dubbed him the Sturminator. Jersey of the week goes to Marco Sturm. If I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anyone, but there would be signs in the form of a Marco Sturm jersey. I was very high on him. I think this is I want to say it was after the Mammoth win, or maybe I was just sifting through some of his post-game stuff because I found out that he got inspiration for like chemistry building from the Philadelphia Eagles, which I just think is, I don't really have an opinion on it. I just think it's kind of interesting that he's crossing sports there and like using his resources. But I understand that the team hasn't been playing well this recent stretch. I don't know how much I blame that on the head coach. Like I still think they have found their next guy, and I would like to see them sort of build up this culture with Marco Sturm throughout this rebuild rather than being like, okay, we have Bruce Cassidy, it's not panning out. The voice has gone cold in the 3 years he's been here. Let's go to Jim Montgomery for another 3 years. He's gone cold too. So now we're going to bring in Sturm for another 3 years and then try it all again. Like, I think they've found the guy at least.
Yeah, this should be Sweeney and Neely's last head coach that they get to hire and fire.
Mhm.
Like if they get to a point where Sturm's not the guy, then it's also clear that Neely and Sweeney aren't the guy and they need to go to. I'm not anywhere near that on Marco Sturm. With that being said, I think he is unfortunately this team is his results are a product of the circumstances that he's been put in by a terrible roster building group. Like I know I just gave Sweeney flowers for Zellers. I'm not going to give him flowers for Hagens because he fell into their lap.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think Sturham's a good coach. I think all signs point to him at least being the guy moving forward. And unfortunately, this is just a team that they were built to be a tough out and nothing more. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely not. I think earlier in the season I called him hockey Gerard Mayo. I'm no longer on that at that point, but I think he's just unfortunately been given a dog shit roster that can't score.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing the most with what he was given. I think I like that. I think we have talked about this on a previous breakdown, but I like that he's not just staying stagnant with his lineups. He's trying different combinations in different lines and seeing what sticks, rather than just like, all right, we're putting the same guys out there every night. We'll see if it magically works this time.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, fun morning brew with Jaffe and Razor fact. I love them. They gave me this,
The
which is
cursed hat.
fire. And the hat, admittedly, it was a little cursed. They also gave me this, which is cool.
Yeah, that's
and they're if anyone doesn't know, I produce that show for EEI on Saturday mornings. They are great
tune
to
in
work with. It's
8 to 9.
It's a very good time. It's where I learn a lot of my hockey knowledge, rather aside from just watching the games. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So they gave me that hat. I think it was before the Canucks game on that West Coast road trip. So they lost to the Oilers, and then they gave me the hat, and they didn't win a game. What is this, 6-game losing streak?
Yeah. Well,
Canucks,
it was. Yeah.
Senators. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's since been snapped, but it was
It was bad.
6-game losing streak. Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal, Buffalo, Calgary, and then you beat Edmonton.
So for a little bit, I was terrified that this hat was just cursed. They broke through it. It took longer than I would have hoped, but love the hat. We'll be wearing it quite frequently. Let's see, what else do we have here? Kuznitinov back where he belongs on line 1. Yeah, baby. That's all. Jeffrey VL, what does he even do?
Nothing.
Confirmed. Known Atlanta Thrasher Evander Kane is only 34. How is that possible?
That blew my mind when you texted me that he was only 34. I didn't fact check it
I
at
had
all, but
with
I
Sagan.
believe you. Yeah, I mean, like so many of those guys come in when they're so young that it's
Right.
just like, yeah, 34 for Evander Kane is fucking crazy.
No, like he's still got at least 5 years if he is able to catch on to a team. I know there was a little bit where they're like, this guy is so toxic in the locker room that nobody wants anything to do with him, and then the
there was
Oilers
stuff with
ended
his
up picking
wife.
him up. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was like a degenerate gambler or something. I forget what it was.
Well, I guess that has been
4th
dealt with.
overall in the 2009 draft of Evander Kane. That's
wild.
crazy.
Let's see.
Shout out
Also
the
in that
Thrashers.
Canucks game, the worst shootout I have ever seen. I think
Oh my God, I forgot we haven't talked about the. Oh my
Sure
God, was
haven't.
that the game where they trotted out Andrew Peak?
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. Andrew Peak scored in this game, and this is where I'm like, okay, Marcus Sturm, maybe we don't always push the right buttons, because he had him like 3rd in the shootout.
He went before Geeky.
It was just the Geeky didn't go at all, I don't think.
No, he went. He was the one that he missed and they lost.
Okay, well, yeah. So Peak went before Geeky, and it was just a horrible effort.
And
I think
the answer was so bad too after the game, where he was like, "Oh well, he has this move when we practice shootouts that he scores on us all the time," and then he was like, "He didn't do that move here." It's like, okay, man, like if you're telling Andrew Peak, like, "All right, Peak, like you're up," like, how are you not telling him, "Hey, do the move"? Like, what do you mean? Like he's just going up there, like, "All right, Peak, get in your bag." Like, no, his bag consists of that one move, and if he's not going to do it, then he should not be in the shootout.
it was dreadful. That was the
Actually, not
Canucks
even that.
loss.
Let me amend that take.
Okay.
Even if he is going to do that move, he should not be in the shootout.
No,
especially
no.
not as early. Like if you're getting into it and you're like 8-9 rounds in and you're like grasping at straws, like I want to say like Chara got put out there at one point and he was just like, he just took like a clapper from like halfway to the circles. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Like that's
like
what
he-
Chara
he had-
does.
at that time he had the hardest shot in the NHL, so it was like, all right, man, like we're in it here, like just go out there and see if you can fucking clap
it
one
hum.
past him.
Yeah. Like I obviously I'm still a novice to this stuff, but why are we putting in defensemen in a shootout before like we've exhausted all of our centers and wings?
Because you're dumb. Well, like,
Fair.
unless, like I could see, like, you could make the argument for, like, Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, like, the
Sure.
skilled defensemen, like Torrey Krug used to go out there occasionally when he was
Mhm.
still on the Bruins, but, like, aside from that, yeah, like, a guy like Andrew, a stay-at-home defenseman like Andrew Peeke should never be, participating in a shootout.
That was wild.
The NHL shootout rules are stupid, though, anyway. Well, shootouts are
I think so,
stupid
too.
anyways, but I hate the shootout.
Yeah, it's just it's dumb to go from 3-on-3 overtime to just a
Yeah.
shootout, and
It's
that's it.
3-on-3 overtime, which is like taking a fucking crack pipe and smoking it
Yeah.
immediately, and then go into the boringness of the shootout. And like, I like what they've been doing international with 10-minute 3-on-3,
Mhm.
where like, because like by the time you get to like past like the 5-minute mark, all those guys are so gassed, like
Right.
it's going to end pretty quickly. Like I would guess that the amount of games that go to shootouts, if you just simply move to 10-minute 3-on-3, would at least be cut in half, probably more.
And even in the playoffs, like, they don't do shootouts,
No,
so
it's just 20 minutes continuous 5-on-5, which
which
is
is
like,
fun.
it's obviously never like, it's not something that you're gonna do in the regular season, because then you
No.
wind up with like 2-3 OT games, and no one wants to play fucking 120 minutes in October against the Calgary Flames. But like, yeah,
There's gotta
in
be a
the
middle
playoffs,
ground.
yeah, I think it's the 10-minute 3-on-3. That's where I would go.
That would be nice. Let's see. This is after that shootout loss. Okay, yeah, the team actually stinks.
Yep, sure
Good
does.
take. So glad we kept Corpusalo instead of giving Bussy a shot. Guy is straight dog water.
Yeah, and Corpusalo, unfortunately, has reached the point where he's just like straight up wave territory. Like he needs to just go. Like you were kind of hoping that, and again, like obviously the Bussy thing, he's up with Carolina and he's performing well, but like they have DiPietro and Callahan down in Providence, who are both worthy of a shot too, and you have Corpusalo, who you're paying $4 million to suck, and like I was going into the season like, okay, like they have like, here's a list of guys that hopefully at the deadline they can flip. Corpusalo was on that list, and now like I said, he's in waiver territory. Like he's just fucking awful. And I saw people being like, oh, Jonas Corpusalo doesn't make the cut for Team Finland for the Olympics. It's like, oh,
Shocking.
I wonder why.
Yeah, fork found in kitchen,
Yeah.
I think.
Correct.
Let's see. Wow, what a goal from Marat Huznadinov. 5 on the year. He's so tough. I think that's it. He's still at 5 goals, but that's okay. Casey Middlestat has not gotten enough love for me so far. So shout out Casey Middlestat. Keep it up, and you may win a Jersey of the week.
Or
I don't think he's
win a
going to.
traded- Win a traded award. Win
Yeah,
a get
maybe.
the fuck out of here award.
Jeez, where's the beef there?
There isn't any beef. I'm just not a big Casey Middlestat believer, and like I don't think he's a part of the building blocks for the future. So I'd rather see him play well for like up until whenever the trade deadline is, and then get moved for a first round pick.
Okay, that's fine. Sabres throwbacks 12 out of 10, but that game was so bad.
Were they wearing the red and black ones?
Yeah, the like more black.
Yeah. Yeah, with like the red outlines.
Yep. I like those ones a lot.
Yeah, those are good.
Hell has frozen over. The Bruins won a hockey game, and the Sabres are in a playoff spot in January. This really made my New Year's Eve. That was a super fun game. They won 6-2. And I think the Sabres are still in a playoff spot right now.
Yeah, they were the hottest team in the league.
They won
going
like
into
10 in
the
a row.
holiday freeze. Let's see where they are now. I'm pretty sure they're still in there. They're just on the outside looking in, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. Looks like they just lost their first game in a while here. So, but
yeah,
still.
they're 2 points out of the Caps for the last playoff spot right now.
Okay. Let's see. The penalties are taking years off my life.
Yeah,
it is infuriating. I think it was Jonathan Asborough at the end of the Flames game who had that horrible call, like as they were getting off the ice and they just started a man down in the overtime, and it was pretty over from there. But they also had a breakaway in that game. I know Zadorov got the rebound and just kind of muffed it. I don't remember who was it Pasternak or someone, one of their main goal scorers. I don't remember who.
I don't remember off the top of my head either.
But yeah, it was a bad effort. That's all I really have to say about that. Guess what? Jersey of the week, part 2. Why? Because I can. Jersey of the week, Fraser Minton for hitting Zach's bet and for being good at hockey. I think it's okay to do more than one when we have a month in between episodes.
Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, we were also talking about the idea of bringing in the Jersey of the week as our sort of player of the series type of thing as Red Sox season gets back underway here. I think that would be fun.
Yeah,
We
that's a
both
good
just
one.
pick one out.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
so
we
we'll
have
do
to
that.
figure out who the tiebreaker is. Maybe
Oh.
maybe we'll have to call our most loyal listener, Joe, and he can be the tiebreaker on the Jersey of the week.
I like
when
that.
There's not unanimous.
Oh, that would be good. And he's welcome anytime, by the way, if he ever wants to jump on.
Oh, I'm sure he's got plenty of takes.
Last one here. I feel like that kind of flew by more than I like when I was scrolling through the list. Hockey might be goated. And that is because last night I was bored. I honestly didn't care too much about the Sunday night football game until it got down to the wire. And I'm like, okay, this is a good game. I'm going to tune in. And I was just watching Blackhawks Golden Knights for no reason other than it was on. And it was an electric game. I think it went into overtime. I was kind of half paying attention.
Tyler Bertuzzi scored the game winner.
And then there was like questions of it. Was it offsides or not? Like it was fun. Like these hockey games can be this electric in the regular season. And then it gets obviously turned up a notch in the playoffs. But to be able to enjoy a game like this where both teams are like, is fun. I think
so. That's my question to you.
Sports.
How, aside from Bruins playoff games, how much playoff hockey, non-Bruins, have you watched in your life?
Probably more than you would think.
Okay.
Like I'll tune into the Cup Finals as well. This is kind of a side conversation, but Olivia was family friends with Evan Rodriguez, is it? On the Panthers.
Yeah, on the Panthers, yeah.
So she was pulling for the Panthers because she would have been able to see the Cup.
Get her the fuck out.
Well, she wanted to see the Cup.
No, get her out. Get her out.
No, I won't do that.
Time out. Get her. I wish we had suspension music. Get her out.
Oh, well, she doesn't listen, so I don't think she'll hear.
That's disgusting. No, send me your phone number. I'm texting her.
I wasn't rooting for the Panthers, to be
I'm going to text her the gif of, is it Jim Joyce going, boom, and then tossing the
I'll pass that along.
Yeah.
Like I've been watching the Cup Finals, not just because of that, but it's also just been fun. I remember watching the Stars. Like the first year that Ottinger was in, maybe, where he like he had a really good playoff run. Or am I tripping?
No, I think you're right. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I do remember him popping off for a playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of putting his name on the map.
It's one of those things where like during playoff season, I won't like seek out a series unless a team I like is in it. But if it's on, like I'll definitely get dialed into those. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really? Because their goalies stink or what?
Yeah, their goalies stink and they're high flying offenses.
Well, okay, good to know. Maybe we're trending that way again. Both of them are playoff teams now.
Yeah, I think the Kings might be just on the outside.
Where even are they?
Yeah, oh no, they're the last wild card right now.
Oh, yeah.
So right now they would draw the Avs, unfortunately. So we need either the Kings or we need the so right now we need the Kings to either overtake the Ducks, which they're 2 points behind, or we need the Oilers to overtake the Avs, which obviously there's still so many games left. So but
I think
fingers crossed we get it again.
The straightest path to this is the Oilers and the Kings being the 4 and 5, I would say. Is that how it works?
No, so it's your two divisions.
I've outed myself here.
So essentially, like if you're looking at the standings right now, the Avs would play the Kings and the Knights would play the Kraken, and then the Stars and Wild would play each other, and the Oilers and the Ducks would play each other in the West. So it's by division. Which is stupid. It used to be 1 versus 8, and then they went to the 1 through 8, and then they went to this seeding. Essentially, the Western or the second round or the third round becomes the winner of the Central versus the winner of the Pacific, unless one of the wild card teams makes a run, and then same thing for the Eastern Conference. The conference finals becomes Atlantic versus Metro champions.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That is
It's
dumb.
stupid. Yeah, it's stupid. Especially like if you have years like the year, I forget what year it was, but the whatchamacallit, the Atlantic was so much better than the Metro,
Mhm.
and the Bruins got fucked having to fight their way through Toronto and Florida.
Yeah, I
And
do remember that.
yeah. And the it's like the whatchamacallit, the like TikTok videos of people playing It Takes Two, where it's like the boyfriend is sitting in
Yes.
the corner like I'm spinning like
Yep, yep.
a ballerina. Like that was essentially what the Metro was doing while the Atlantic was fighting for their fucking lives.
What was the Eastern Conference Finals that year then?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It wasn't the
Uh,
Bruins. Panthers, someone.
Rangers, maybe?
Panthers, Hurricanes. I don't
Or
remember off the top of my
Islanders?
head.
Didn't they sneak in one of those years?
I don't think they made it to the conference finals.
Well,
I'd have to look it up, but yeah.
I need to do a
Yeah,
deep
it's
dive on this playoff bracket now because
It's
I don't
stupid.
understand it still.
It's so dumb.
Oh boy. Well, that's all the takes I have, I think. Do you have any pressing takes?
I've got a Winter Classic take. The Winter Classic is not meant to be in Miami in a fucking dome. Like, I'm sorry. Well, you just people don't want to grow the game. Correct. Yeah, I don't. I don't want to grow the game to places like Miami where they play the Winter Classic in the dude,
60-degree weather.
Right. And they're, oh, well, the windows were open and the roof was open. It's okay, dude, and it was 60 degrees out. Like,
The ice is melting, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
That's not a Winter Classic. And I saw someone on Twitter said it. This is the correct breakdown. It's the Winter Classic, and they drew a line, and it's effectively from like the Bruins, or I think the Capitals were in there. So anybody north of the Capitals, and they drew it to avoid the Central and the Kraken. So anybody north of DC can get the Winter Classic, and then the center part of the country, those teams can get the Heritage Classic, and then all the southern teams can get Stadium Series games. Like, to me, the Winter Classic is at the Big House and it's snowing, Wrigley Field, Blackhawks Blues, or like Fenway had two, Gillette had one. Like, that's the Winter Classic. The Winter Classic is, it's winter, everyone's freezing their tits off, it might be snowing, and you have two original six teams playing, or two like heritage legacy teams playing. It's not the Rangers and the Panthers playing at Lone Depot Park, where half of the background is a beach and the other half is snow and the ice is melting and nobody's there. Like, yeah, fuck that. That was such a terrible Winter Classic, and I never want to see one south of the Mason-Dixon again.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I'm looking forward to the Stadium Series. Like, I think that'll be fun. I'm not a huge fan of the Bruins jerseys.
Stink.
Yeah,
the jerseys are so bad. And Shime was wearing the hat the other day with the shoulder patch that he had on the hat.
Yeah.
Like, I think if they just went with that logo on the jersey, it would be great. And I don't like the Lightning ones really either. They're better than the Bruins, but they're also not good.
Real quick before we end this Bruins breakdown, shout out to my parents for getting the Pasternak jersey. Shout out to Olivia's parents for getting me this shirt. I think everyone caught on to the Bruins wave this year because I don't shut up about things I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to all of them.
Shout them out. Shout them the fuck out.
I think that's all I have. Do you have anything else? Now we've done an hour 40, but it's been a while, so I'm not surprised.
No, I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, I'm definitely more Bruins wise. I'm more in the. They kind of reeled me in for a second where I was like, we'll see. I was never at the point where I'm like, this team's going to be true contenders, or even I wanted them to be buyers at the deadline. Like, I still am more so in the camp of they should trade off what they can at the deadline and continue to build up for the future. Figure out what pieces you can build around and what pieces you can't, and kind of go from there shopping wise. The people are starting to turn on Gavin McKenna after a pretty bad World Juniors performances. So
wow,
it'd be a real shame if he fell to the Bruins. That would be a real shame. The hunt for 2 top 10 picks is officially on because the Maple Leafs are dog shit and the Bruins have their pick. It's top 7 protected, 6 protected, something like that.
Okay.
So we need the Maple Leafs to fall somewhere in the 7 to 15 range in the lottery, and then we get that pick on top of the Bruins pick. So I'm there with that. Looking forward to the Olympics and the trade deadline.
I am as well. It looks like just doing like a quick check here. It would probably be like 15 if the season ended today. So the Bruins would get that pick.
Yeah.
Okay. So as
Um,
long as we can maintain pace there, they
let's
should be
go on
good.
Tankathon real quick. Let's just do a lottery sim.
Okay.
Lottery. Bang. Here we go. Oh, the Bruins with the number 2 pick.
Oh, that would be fun.
This
I
has,
am looking forward to the Olympics as well.
This has Toronto getting 13, so that pick would convey to the Bruins.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how does that work? If they get like if the Maple Leafs get that pick, then it's just done?
No, I don't
Or is
know
it a swap?
No, it just pushes back. I don't know exactly what I'd have to look up the details of the deal. That I don't know off the top of my head, but I think it would just push back to next year.
Oh, okay.
And then I
Okay.
think next year it's like top 3 protected or something like that. And then if it gets all the way to 28, it would be completely unprotected.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, something interesting to follow because it seems like the Bruins are trending towards Cancun. When did they start? April playoffs?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So around there, we'll probably be headed for Cancun. But regardless, it is fun to keep up with. I have enjoyed doing this segment and having a reason to pay attention to hockey because it's something
now when you're in on the ground floor of the rebuild or the retool. So like now when they're starting to build, when they're good, you can't get accused of being a bandwagon fan like Olivia is with the Panthers.
Exactly. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. She is a Bruins fan, though. Absolutely. We've been trying to get to a game, and you told me actually that as the Bruins are become even worse, then tickets become much cheaper. So I'll try to get to at least one game before the end of the year. Maybe do some.
I was gonna say we got to go together and do contents just
out in the
David
wild,
walking around to the Garden.
I haven't been to a Bruins game in upwards of 12 years at this point, I think. So it would be interesting.
I usually go to like a handful a year, usually like anywhere between 5 to 10, but I haven't been yet this year.
Okay, we'll have to make that happen. A little entering Kenmore field trip.
Yeah, usually I'm a playoff guy. And it kind of worked out too, where I was in Chicago for so long, where I would always it would line up where I would come home for a playoff game and we would go. But yeah, now with no playoffs, it's been slimmer. Yeah, I want to say it was the year that they lost to the Panthers the first time, 23 or whatever year they won the President's Trophy. I think it was 23. I was at game 4 and 5.
That's cool.
One game 4, and then obviously the moment in Bruins history that haunts my dreams more than any other moment in the history of the team is Brad Marchand on the breakaway as time expires in game 5, and he just completely misses the net. And
I remember that.
Allmark misplays a puck trying to go to dog shit Matt Grzelcyk along the boards and just completely whiffs on it, turns it over, game winner, and that effectively ended the series.
Yep. I mean, we could reminisce on that for probably longer than we should.
Yeah, nobody wants to see me start.
We would
crying,
be sad. Any other Red Sox takes?
No, I hope they do something. I hope they get a little bit more creative than just trying to be the smartest guy in the room. At any given moment. Like sometimes the best move is the most obvious one, and it seems like they need to be reminded of that more often than not. I'm still looking for that guy that you circle and say this is the guy that you're going to beat, and I think that you're not going to let beat you, and I think until you have that guy, whether it be Roman Anthony growing into that guy or you just signing or trading for one, that you're not going to be a true World Series contender. So until then, I think we're just kind of in no man's land almost, which sucks for a team that was rebuilding for the last 5 years, aside from one unexpected playoff run in 21. Like it's time that we, as Craig Breslow said, compete for World Series championships. And as currently constituted and as we, and from what we know in terms of the rumors, this is not a team that is serious about doing that. So until then, it's just kind of like, all right, what the fuck, what are we going to do? We're going to still be here. We're going to still talk about them. We're still going to produce the games, and we're still going to go to the games. So, yeah, until then, I guess glory will shine upon us once again. I just don't know when that might be.
Boston Red Sox.
Maybe when John Henry fucking kicks the can.
Yeah, you have a month to prove us wrong until pitchers and catchers report, and I'm willing to eat my words. I'm just not
I'm
at
begging
all
you
confident.
to make me eat my words.
I'll put it on a plate right now. It's ready to be heated up anytime.
Yeah, I am on hands and knees.
But until then, we will be here breaking down every single trade or transaction, if any more are to come at this point. But regardless, thanks so much for listening. We'll check in with you guys again next time.
Drake May.